DOT. I am the current and outgoing chair. Penny?
Hold on, I'm in the middle of breakfast. It's earlier out here. Penny Bossler, current vice chair. Looking forward to following in those big footsteps BJ's leaving.
Thank you for that. Let's just go down the line. Participants. Got Josh.
Josh Obrecht, ISU GIS facility, current treasurer.
Okay.
I'm Micah Kettler. I'm the GIS director for CGA and the current secretary. And I'm the voice that will keep piping in if I'm unclear about something. Just a warning.
Oh, he said it was unmuted, but he's there. Brad?
Hey, Brad Cutler, Iowa DOT, Traffic Safety Bureau.
Call-in user number 3.
They may not realize they are calling. There's somebody who's labeled as call-in user 3. So they may not, because they're on the phone, they can't see that name, so they don't know who that is. So
good point.
Yeah.
I think it might be Matt.
Matt.
Oh, wait.
Matt, are you calling in on the phone?
Yeah, I am calling in on the phone, but I thought I linked it to my whatever user ID. But anyway, I'm here, Matt Boyk.
Oh no, I see your name.
Coordinator.
I do see you, Matt, as a name. You're good. I just haven't scrolled down that far. We've got 21.
I'm more than just a name.
Testy.
Absolutely.
Danielle.
Hi, Danielle Denise, City of Mason City.
Debbie.
Debbie Stevens. I'm with William Penn University and Indian Hills Community College, and I represent the community colleges, I believe.
Cool. Frank?
Frank Waiseth, MPOJC. Good morning.
Morning. Hannah.
Sorry, I had to find my unmute button. Hannah Neal, I'm a regional planner at Simcoe, and I do traffic modeling and GIS.
Glad to have you. Joe.
Joe Dreyhaus, Iowa Department of Transportation in our Systems Planning Bureau.
John.
John DeGroat, UNI Geography, Geotree Center.
Lawrence.
Hi, Lawrence Harpins with Westcom.
Talk to Matt Buck. Matt Hone.
Morning, everybody. Matt Hone with Esri.
Got Micah. We got Mark. Patrick.
Patrick Wilkie Brown, State of Iowa.
Talk to Penny. Paula.
Paula Lemke, Saragordo County GIS.
Robin.
I'm Robin McNeely with the ISU GIS facility. I don't represent anyone in particular, I guess, but I've been involved in IGIC for years and interested, so I show up to meetings to see what's going on.
Good deal. Welcome. And Travis.
Travis Garish, Franklin County GIS Department.
Okay. Is there anyone who is yet to be introduced?
Bailey Hanson, Iowa State University Extension and Outreach.
Bailey? Oh, Ben, looks like you joined.
Yep, sorry, just had a meeting, another meeting I was just coming out of.
No problem. And then who do we have on the phone? Did we ever figure that out?
It's a lurker.
All right.
So the roll call and the board members today is really important because we're talking about a bylaws vote. This is Micah. So I'm going to do a count and double check and make sure. I'm not sure we're yet at a quorum. We need 2/3, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll get you back to you on that, and we can start other things first. And I think a couple more people just joined. If anyone has not, Amy, Logan, I see you.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, Amy.
Okay. The final agenda was sent out this morning. Do we have any new agenda items? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Matt seconded.
Who's the first?
This
I'll be
is
the-
Penny. I'll move to approve.
Oh,
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
aye.
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 All opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Josh, what's our money situation?
All
Hey,
right.
Josh, you're on mute.
Yep. I found it. All right. So can you see the Quicken screen?
Yes.
All right. So since last meeting, we had just 2 transactions. One is the mini grant to you and I for $1,944, and then also 9 years renewal on our domain names, so that we don't have to worry about those. That ended up being $309.60. So our current balance is $31,476.13. Either today or tomorrow, I will be sending out the billing for site license, and so come our next meeting in July, hopefully that is all taken care of. Hopefully given enough leeway to people to try to deal with mailing issues on campus with the number of the staff that are around. So we'll see. Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
All right. Oh, is there a question? Okay. Thank you, Josh. I think for now we'll skip over the bylaws changes until I get confirmation from Micah that we have a quorum. Moving on to elections. Since this is an off year, what we have to elect is there is an opening in state government currently, as well as a vice chair. If anyone is interested in serving as the vice chair, please contact Penny as the incoming chair. Penny, will your work email do?
Yeah, work email's fine.
Good deal. Note that it is a 3-year commitment. Vice chair, chair, and then past chair. And
really, as vice chair, there's very little to do. I'm just saying, the first year is pretty easy.
first year's pretty easy. It's getting on board for the next year for continuity. Okay, moving on. Josh and Matt, we have a ITAG conference update.
Yeah, I can, I guess, take the first little bit here. Just working hard on that. It's coming up middle of June, so we're just really making a push for some GIS presentations. We still have to fill a few spots, so please help out if you can. If you have some cool things to share, or if you have any good ideas for, roundtables or panels or something like that, let us know. But yeah, it's just we're really trying to. I guess things are in pretty full swing now, so we're really trying to get the last few steps, and it's been pretty busy. And I just encourage people to register and come and enjoy the fun. Josh, do you have anything else? I can't remember.
Registration's open. There's still some vendor spots that are open. If you know of any vendors that would be of possible interest to conference attendees. I don't know if there's a whole lot else to add to that right at the moment.
Does anybody have any questions or anything, or does anybody have any I don't know, anything that they're concerned with, or want to make sure they want to see, or what? I'll kind of open it up, I guess.
This is Micah. 2 questions. How is registration numbers coming in? And I think you should emphasize the need for GIS presentations a little stronger to this group, because I think that is a little on the low side.
Yep. No, I agree. We definitely need some more participation for GIS presentations. And as far as registration, it is a little low. This year's been kind of weird because we kind of got a slow start. But I don't know how many people. Josh, is there probably just 20 or 30 or something registered? I'm not sure. Maybe a little more.
Well, we had some carryover from last year, so I'd probably say we're probably closer to 50.
Okay.
We'll probably have more concrete numbers next week when we have our committee meeting.
I think it's probably likely a lot of people are sort of waiting to see what the situation is as we get a little bit closer to June. A lot of people getting vaccinated now, and I can tell you, I feel bulletproof. So bring it on. I'm ready to get out and see people after that vaccination. It makes a world of difference. So the more people get vaccinated, I think the more they're likely they are to participate.
Yeah, I would agree that that part of the low numbers right now is just the whole situation is so.
Hey, Matt and Josh.
But we are. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Hey, it's Matt. Matt, it's Matt. I know we're not going to be able to attend in person, but we're still planning on, registering and presenting virtually if that's possible. Has that been made available to other as an option for other attendees to present virtually?
Well, I don't think we've really, made it an option, just because I don't know how to do it. But if we're definitely not going to turn away, something if somebody has a really good presentation, but they can't, physically be there, then we'll work on that. The logistics of that are a little bit tough, but we're open to it, I guess. We don't want to push anybody away, which I still haven't sent you an email yet, Matt. I've been drafting it and haven't sent you something. So we'll have to talk offline, maybe you, Josh, and I, about how we want to get participation from ESRI. But yeah, if anybody has if anybody has anything, then they just definitely do not want to be there in person, but wants to participate, let us know, or let Paula Lemke know. She's kind of been also, heading up the presentation part of it. But if you want to contact me or Josh or her or anybody, BJ or whatever, we'll work with you. But yeah, I know it's a strange year, but yeah, we're hoping that people will have, if you're going to get a vaccine, you'll have it by June, I think. I mean, you could have it by May or even by now. So that's pretty optimistic. So But anyway, I guess that's about it. Anybody have any more questions or anything else they want to know or anything?
I was just going to say, remember, Matt, this is Paula. Remember, we have all those IT people on the other half of ITAG to help with any online presentations and how to get that going.
Yep, no, they're a good resource for sure. Yeah.
This is Mark Yerington, and I just add that just talked to Justin, the new Magic person, new Magic systems analyst, and he should be reaching out with a presentation. And I'm also gonna reach out to the utility group. They have a couple guys that are GIS, and maybe they can spark some interest from them as well. So there should be some stuff coming from Muscatine for presentations.
Oh, nice. Thank you very much. That's good.
Yeah, this is this is Ben Wagner. I'm also working on. I'm going to be submitting a registering for a presentation. Probably doing. I'm planning on being in person. My co-presenter is probably going to be virtual, so we're going to do kind of do a hybrid thing if we can.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think we're definitely going to be in touch with the hotel to make sure we have all the bandwidth that we need in case we have multiple virtual presentations at the same time. But yeah, there's been some good interest. There's some good vendors showing up too. So we have some fun things planned that I don't think we're going to share those at this meeting, but we have some fun events that we'll definitely send out in emails, in future emails coming up. So, but yeah, if you want to do a combo like Ben is going to do that, we can figure out a way to do that too. I think everyone's used to virtual meetings and stuff now, so and virtual presentations. So that's it's probably not going to be too strange.
Hey, Ben, I like that idea of the hybrid too. I mean, if you can co-present with somebody live and virtual, I think that's a great way to include other folks and partner up with people who may not be able to attend.
I think so too, and I would like to also throw out there, everyone who knows someone can ask. Thank you, Lawrence, very much for asking Dan Corbin. So I don't know if he's gotten the presentation in submitted yet. As of yesterday, he said he's going to get it in there. But thank you, Lawrence, for doing that. And anyone else, if you know a subject like that happens to be for the 2022 NAT update, which was a good idea. And Dan's a good person to be presenting for that.
Yeah, you don't have to take on the 60-minute presentation, all by yourself. You can partner up, or we have even 15-minute. If you just have some quick story map or something neat or some neat use of GIS that you'd like to share. So, but if you have another, a coworker or friend or colleague or whatever, you want to all come together for like a 30-minute, 60-minute presentation, that's fine too. And trust me, 30 minutes goes by so fast, so if you don't think you could speak for 30 minutes or 60 minutes, it's easier than you think. That's just my experience anyway.
And you can always leave time at the end for questions, and this group will find questions and fill your time. No worries.
Yep, that's right. Anything else, or does anybody else have anything else to discuss they want to ask or discuss or thinking of?
What are we doing on Wednesday night for fun?
Well, we're not going to share that quite yet, are we? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Do we save that for an email, or what? Do we get the people excited now? What's that?
I don't know if you wanted to tease it yet or not. It's going to be awesome.
You can. Why don't you just say something to this group, BJ?
All right. So we went. You want me to tell the long story or the short one? I'm trying to drag this out so we can get 2 more people on.
Yeah,
Hey,
drag
I
it
want
out.
to hear the
Tell the
story.
adventure.
Well, we got people. We got people. We're at 67%. Way to go, kids. Okay.
All right. All right. So we're going with short story.
Okay.
We found a mobile axe throwing trailer So we're going to be doing competitive axe throwing in the parking lot. It's going to be epic. With video games.
And we might have some printed out posters for targets too, which will add to the fun.
All right. So since we have our quorum, or does I'm sorry, I shouldn't move on yet. Does anybody else have anything for the ITAG conference? All right.
Can I do a little bit of a roll call just because I've seriously been like going through names and I missed somebody that was part of our board that anyway, I just want to verify so I'm not a complete idiot here, okay?
Please.
So just because we are doing a vote that requires a specific number of attendees, we're paying these are the people that are part of our board that I do not have on this call. So if you're on this call and I missed you, let me know. James Worm, Greg Haddish, Chris Hawes, Sunshine McDonald, Jason Dolph, Evan Coaster, whatever, Evan, and Anya. So those are the people I have as being absent for right now. Otherwise, I have all the rest of the board members, and we are sitting literally at like 67%, which is exactly what we need to do to be able to vote on bylaws.
I don't think Corey's on.
Sunshine's on her
Oh,
way.
I'm sorry. Yes, I don't have him either. I just skipped over his name as I was reading it. But no, you're right. I don't have him marked. He's not part of the 67%. We're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I know Sunshine's on her way. For this vote, do I need to read the proposed change?
I think it might not hurt to discuss and just make sure everyone understands the changes and what it'll signify.
Okay. So the idea behind these changes are to modify the composition of the board by reducing the number of seats for certain areas and introducing a new at-large seat that is available to anyone who is interested in running regardless of sector affiliation. This would make a change to Article 4, Section 5 as follows. The Section 5 would read, if this is passed, IGIC board members shall represent IGIC interest sectors. 15 seats will be designated for specific sectors in the following manner. 2 board members shall represent private sector organizations. 1 shall represent regional sector organizations. 2 shall represent municipal governments. 3 shall represent county governments. 3 shall represent state of Iowa government. 1 shall represent U.S. federal government agencies that use GIS in their state of Iowa activity. 3 shall represent the education sector, defined as university, college, community college, and K-12 education sector. 10 seats shall be deemed at large and will be open to any IGIC member in good standing regardless of sector affiliation. Do I have any questions about the proposed language?
I just want to say, Corey, I saw your email. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing none. Josh, do we have the ability to vote through the poll?
Yeah, so I'm going to open the poll, and you should see a panel that shows polling pop up on your screen. And honestly, anybody can go ahead and vote. It's going to record who voted how, so we'll be able to pick out the board members.
Okay.
And there's a 5-minute time limit, but once everybody's in there, then I'll just close it and we'll be good.
But only board members can vote, right?
Correct, but if you go ahead and vote anyway, we'll pull your name out, and we're just looking at what the board members is. There's no way to restrict this to certain people in this mechanism. And one other thing is I can't vote on it because I'm the one who did the poll. So
Well, that's ironic.
yeah, I know.
I just want to say though, Josh, thank you for doing this as an online poll. I think it's a great way to record the vote, and I'm going to need you to like maybe do a screen capture or somehow document that vote, and I'll throw it in the minutes.
Yeah, so I'll take a screenshot, and then I think also at the end the results are saved out. So wait another 20 seconds. The numbers haven't really changed, so I think everybody who should have voted probably has voted. I'll wait till.
Micah, you said that there's enough of the board to get
Yes.
the majority you need. Okay.
Yep. I've been like, I swear I haven't done like fraction math or percentage math so far here, and I've been fervorously counting and dividing. Now, I will be honest, we're above, so we're good. But I only did out of 24, not 25, because we do have a vacant seat. And so I was kind of like, do I count it as out of 25? That's a math question. But we, with Corey piping up there, thank you, Corey, we're above, and so it won't really matter.
Okay, well, I sent a message to Greg, and he said he's in another call, but would be joining very soon. But he's obviously going to miss the vote if we're going to close it soon. But if you don't need him, then it's moot.
Yep.
Pettish. Yeah.
All right, Micah, I closed it. I sent you the results, with what my vote is in there. So.
By email, or how did you send that?
Yes, email.
All right, well, Micah tallies the count. Do we have any other projects, conferences, representatives, or regional user groups that would like to present?
This is Debbie, and right now I am spending the week contacting all the schools that I have been in touch with about the map contest. And so sometime early next week, I should be able to let you know if I need judges or not.
Good deal.
Can I ask if someone logs on right now, like Evan Kester, the vote is done, right?
By
Actually,
the time I got my new laptop figured out, the poll was done.
Yeah, so
my iVote didn't go in.
Yep, we noticed that, Penny, and I sent you a message privately in this chat. I thank you for saying something. No, go ahead. I mean, this is not a time thing. This is just during the meeting. So Penny, if you would just email me your vote, like
I will do that.
Like Josh did, and if Evan, since I see you're on now, if you wouldn't mind emailing me your vote, that's great.
I had my laptop turned into a paperweight while I was out here, and I had to order a new one quick and get back to work. So nothing but fun. And then I dropped my phone in a toilet while helping Dad. So yeah, it's been a fun time for my electronics, but I will email that.
Yep, not a problem. Just go ahead and email me, and I'll kind of add it up. I'm struggling a little bit to take notes and do math. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. So.
Hey, yeah, sorry, this is Evan. I'm in a training and had to skip today. It was a bylaws vote change?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any text on that?
I'm looking for an A or nay email or text or however you want to communicate with me.
Okay. And was it the last VJ sent something out like a month or so ago?
Yes, yes, there were no additional changes. You're right.
Okay. And I'll just email you
Perfect.
Micah.
Perfect. I'll coordinate. I don't really want to be rushed because I like Josh said, I got to go through and make sure I've got the names of everyone who voted. And I want to make sure and properly document it. So I really would appreciate having a moment to like compile everything, like past the meeting, if that's okay. Do we need to talk about it?
I don't think there's any need to discuss. You could probably just release the results through an email.
Okay.
And then we move from there.
I'm going to bury the lead, I guess. I guess there's no reason. There's every indication that it's totally passed. I mean, I don't want to be all secretive about it. I just don't want to give out a number because I want to do the math and make sure that I have the votage, the percentage of the people attending and get the percentage correct. And that'll make me double check and because we've had people join like Evan late. So I just want to get my numbers right, but there hasn't been, it totally passed.
Okay.
So we can't talk about it because I do have a concern if we're changing our sectors. When did we say this was going to be enacted? Because we're in the middle of a 2-year term.
So the sectors wouldn't be affected until, well, I guess we didn't formally say, but as the assumption was that it would take effect at the next election. The next regular election.
Right, so that's in a year. Okay, perfect. That'll give us a chance to align up and make sure people are aware of the changes and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. Does anyone have anything else for the good of IGIC?
This is Greg Haddish. I just joined the meeting, so.
Oh, hey, Greg. If you want to send Micah an email regarding your feelings on the proposed bylaws change, so we can get your vote recorded.
Okay, will do.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on.
And I'm throwing out my email to everybody right now, my work email, because I did change jobs a year ago and I've known most people a long time. And you might have an old email for me. So there's my email. Penny, I sent it to you privately, but then I'm just throwing it out there in case Greg needs it. I just want to make sure you guys have my current email address if you hadn't updated your contacts.
So are we doing committee reports or is this meeting almost done?
Oh, Lawrence, do you have a report from Geodetics?
Yeah. And 911 also.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, because there's some big changes coming in 911. They're hoping by the end of year they would be changing the way that 911 calls will be routed. Currently, they use a flat file database that when a call comes in, it dips into the database as it, what's the address it's coming from, what call center needs to take it. By the end of the year, they want to change that to change that to using GIS data, so that you'll have they'll geocode the call, and it will dip into a polygon, as far as which call center needs to take this call, and that kind of it's really big. and it's something that I think has been I'm not gonna say it hasn't been addressed, hasn't been talked about constantly, but I'm not sure that people really understand the implications of it. To make sure that on the county level, when we submit polygons to Geocom, which the state is using as their kind of project management kind of repository of all the GIS data for 911, that these polygons have to be accurate. They have to be coincident with neighbors, so that there's no calls that will be end up in no man's land. And so that's something that I just kind of want to put that out, make sure that we're all aware that this change is coming, and that we make sure we're ready for it by the end of the year, especially on the county level. Make sure that we our boundaries all match with our neighbors. And I just think that it's important. I know the counties are kind of getting stretched thinner and thinner with all the state mandates and things that they data that they want from the counties. But the need for good county data is becoming more and more important on the state level. Does that make sense? I don't want to just keep rambling if I'm being confusing.
That is really interesting. I saw some email traffic on that, Lawrence. This is Micah. And so I assume that's being coordinated through like Geocom and that whole contract and stuff.
Yeah, Geocom is going to start contacting, well, I think they're going to start having some informational meetings with counties in May, I believe. The thing that kind of worries me about it is the coordination of it really is all being thrown onto the counties, and I'm not. It's one of those grassroots efforts that it's like there's some things that are that we all can have a passion about at the grassroots level, but some things where it's like as important as this, I just worry a little bit about well, quite a bit about it being left at the grassroots level. That people will take it serious enough to really reach out to their neighbors, make sure that they're matching their lines. So,
Lawrence, this is BJ. Is this something that IGIC, as a statewide organization composed of many different entities, has a unique position to assist in the coordination?
I think that if nothing else, just to make sure that we're getting the word out. I know there's a lot of people that aren't involved with IGIC, maybe other than the email list, but I know that we all have a lot of people that we know. We all coordinate with a lot of different people from a lot of different levels. I just think that if you have opportunities, make sure that people know about this coming, and that just the importance of it. And I don't want to sound doom and gloom, because if a caller does end up in a no man's land, it will get routed to somebody. It'll just take some time for that somebody to figure out who they really belong to, and forward the call back to the proper place. But a lot of times in that world, seconds are very important.
If you are wondering about what your neighbor's boundary looks like and how it hooks up to yours, the map that I sent out came from Geocom, and you can download that layer for the whole state, except for obviously there were some missing, because what that is what the counties have sent into them. They have a full state map of counties that I believe came from the DNR originally, but the one that I sent out, and that came from Jessica Fry, and she checked on everything there. So that's a good thing to start with if you haven't talked to your neighbors already, to look at that map and see how close you're meeting up with your neighbors or if it's truly coincident.
Yeah, good point.
This is Mark Arrington. You know, I mean, we can reach out to neighbors, but you know, if we're all still maintaining our own county boundaries, boy, this really seems like something that should have been handed down like an authoritative thing from the state level and maintained at that level so that somebody could accidentally change their boundary or something like that. And then when they submit again, it may update. I don't know. So kind of a dangerous situation, I think, trying to have each county maintain just even their surrounding counties. So just my 2 cents. Kind of late in the game for you know, changing the way that we're doing things, but definitely something maybe on the go forward that we need to start pushing for.
Mark, I hear what you're saying. I've been telling the state that for years. There's different reasons as far as they say they can't get a they can't really get a full-time employee to do the coordination. Different politics and stuff I think involved too. And I don't want to bash the state, but I just want you to know that if you know, if you know people that may be able to make decisions like this, even at the legislative level, so they're aware of the situation, that would be good. Because yeah, I agree that there really should be some GIS professional at the 911 state 911 office that is coordinating and you know, massaging the data, make sure that it's all topologically correct and all that. So
Yeah, because then we could just chant, you know, because all the other interior boundaries, you know, at the county level we can maintain, but then they could just cut the edges. Because I don't know. This is, I mean, we're talking 911 purposes, so this is kind of a big deal. So it's a matter of a minute or 5 minutes. So not very well, you know, even Geocom, you know, if we hired them to guide this project, I would have thought would have had more oversight on something like that's this impactful, crossing county boundaries. So
Mark, you guys can continue. I just want to pipe up in like a little PSA. As I was going through the attendance before, Sunshine and James, I see you guys have joined in. We've already done our voting on the bylaws, but we would really like your guys' vote on that. And if you look in the chat, my email is there. If you want to email me directly your vote on the bylaw changes regarding the sectors, I would really welcome that. Okay.
I voted, so it's not showing up. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I looked at James Sunshine. I don't think I looked at your name. I just saw I had missed you in attendance earlier. So yes, you're good. You're good, Sunshine. My bad.
Okay, good.
Sorry. Okay, that was my PSA. Back to the programming.
yeah, so that's coming up, and I guess on the geodetic side, something that is, well, when the geodetic committee was first formed back in 2005, our first thing that we wanted to accomplish was a central repository where everybody would be able to place their GIS layers showing locations of high accurate geodetic monuments. And then maybe a year or two later, it was thought to include land corners, which, you know, the public land survey, you know, section corners, such like, because that's real key to being able to establish nice accurate boundaries. You know, if all counties snap their county boundaries to those section corners, then, you know, that there would be no question of where the boundaries are at. So it all kind of comes into like a big picture of you know, let me back up. So that was our vision, was to create this repository. Never never really found a really good mechanism to make it really happen. There was different agencies that were interested in housing something like that, but not really interested in making or really making sure that they get the information from all the interested groups. Right now, it's kind of landed in DOT. They have a real nice ArcGIS web map where they get information as they do surveys along roads, and they get information from different counties. But right now, what would really be maybe it's time again to try to just put it out there again. That this is something that would really be helpful to a lot of people if we could somehow maybe from the county level when you get land corners recorded at the recorder's office, sent that they have coordinates attached to them, send that information up to this portal. If you have geodetic monuments, send it to the portal just so that everybody knows that this is an authoritative place to get good, accurate information of this sort. Is there any questions on that? I just think that that something like this would, and again, without having any vision from the state level to really have authority to make it happen, it's going to be kind of hard to make it really an authoritative place to have this information that could really be helpful to whether it be surveyors, whether it be GIS people trying to trying to create good, accurate maps of whether it's land public land survey, whether it's county boundaries, whether it's other boundaries, parcels. This is what's really the public land survey is the foundation of all most everything, as far as boundaries and parcels and everything like that. So
Lawrence,
yes.
can you send out an email about the portal to send it to? I don't even know if the DOT has mine, and mine have all been surveyed and everything.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Because they've never asked me specifically.
Right, and they won't.
Right,
That's
and
part of the
that's what I
problem.
thought. And so if
So
you send that out,
Lawrence, I'd
Yes.
like to add something to that. So I think just to comment on what Lawrence has said about the submitting the section corner information. So one of the big things is by state law you're supposed to, my understanding, and I couldn't tell you a piece of Iowa code that relates to that. But when those section corners are found, they're supposed to be resurveyed, and there is no specifications within Iowa code related to that document that has to get resubmitted to the county recorder and actually get recorded. There is no provision there to include coordinates. One of the things that would be nice to work with the land surveyors in Iowa in some ways to get coordinates included on that form or recommendation on that as best guidelines in a state plane local coordinate, so that data can then flow up to some sort of repository. The idea being the DOT survey portal. I think the best way for existing recorded sections, if they contain a coordinate, is to put that data and encourage counties to use the Iowa GIS repository and do two things. One, put those section corners data up there in their county. And then the other one is put their current put their current county boundaries and where those county boundaries have been developed from. You know, whether that's the DNR, USGS state data, whether they've used the DOT data, whether they've developed something in-house. Geocom, I talked with Jessica or sent her an email about understanding the source of those, because that data, that shape file that was there was not in real good shape. There were overlaps, there were some shifts in geometry all over the place. And so I asked to the question about, well, where did the county data originate from? And I think that's really the starting point of understanding at least some of these boundaries, is trying to understand where they're coming from. And then, as we know or are assured that some of the county boundaries are more correct than others, that's at least a starting place for this. Technically, the official boundary probably should be coming from the Secretary of State's office. I doubt that's going to ever happen. They don't have the staff to do that. The DOT plays some of that role in regards to city boundaries. But I think that's it's just not going to happen directly from the Secretary of State's office. Because they have, at least in the Iowa Constitution and related documents, there is mention of the Iowa Land Office, which is supposedly housed within the Secretary of State's office, but that really doesn't exist anymore. So one of the things that, is really trying to leverage counties and encourage counties, either through IGIC or through ICIT or other means, to really use that GIS data repository and start uploading at least those two data sets if they have them. And that's something that Lawrence or I can work with the DOT, if that data is there, to get that up there. That's probably the easiest way right now to facilitate the section corner information. And then we can also start looking at a long-term plan for getting those county boundaries adjusted, whether that's through another state agency like Homeland Security and Emergency Management, or whether that's through my office, or through the DOT, or working with a combination of a number of different agencies. There are those conversations happening behind the scenes. And it's just a long process. So I just wanted to add that in there. So I think, in a nutshell, I think IGIC encouraging counties, if you do have data related to the county boundary or section corners, start putting them on the Iowa GIS data repository. That's the easiest way for somebody to get a hold of them and push them where they need. Start doing an inventory related to that.
Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, that and so contacting DOT to put it up there in the, and then we can work at it from there.
This is Travis Garish. As far as the repository goes, rather than digging into each person's county file, is it possible that we just put monuments and survey folders that people would dump into there, like under the other tab?
I don't know the mechanics of it. My concern, would just be people naming something county boundary or monuments and not knowing what county is coming from. I tend to, when I have downloaded things from sites similar, of appending a county name to zip files or other things. But that's just my 2 cents on that. I mean, I don't, if myself or somebody were just to go into every county, that's actually not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a task, especially if there's some sort of notification going on. But
I see that some surveyors have added coordinates to their form that they submit for recording anyway. And I just looked at a few, and it looks like certain ones since 2016 have done that, and some of it as recently as 2020 have not. So that would be very helpful to be on a state form, I think, for all of them.
Yeah, and nowadays they use GPS to do most of this work anyway, so it's not really that big a deal for them.
Yeah, see, all of ours were surveyed. So I have that in CAD and transformed. So I have it out there, but I was just looking at the individual certificates to see when Patrick brought that up, that they're not putting coordinates. And I thought I had seen some coordinates on the certificates also, and I did, but just taking a quick sample, I see the SIH, they've added coordinates to theirs. So that's good. And maybe other ones who've had them surveyed, same thing.
I think you need to be careful with that. They may use coordinates, but when they set up their base station, they may just hit "I'm here," and all that's going to do is get them a differential correction point, and then everything could be based off that. Because I've used some of the ones that were in there, and they're not always correct. So even though it appears to be in the proper coordinates, it may not be where it's actually at, because they honestly don't care about coordinates. They care about how long it takes light to travel from one point to another when it comes to surveying.
Well, I would think that they want to be a little more careful than that, because they are basing other surveys off of the surveyed corner. So
again, they don't care about coordinates. They're looking at an actual piece of whatever on the ground, and that's
it's
all
all
that matters.
it's all relative to what within the survey, not to
exactly. Yeah.
So really, section corners don't mean anything anywhere, no matter what, right?
Correct.
I mean,
Well,
that's what I'm hearing here.
No, where they're at on the ground is the only thing that matters to them. And if they can find that, then that's basically that's all it boils down to.
Yeah, that's what's weird is if you have a good accurate coordinate, that's the easiest way to find it. But they still probably using ties, so many feet from a tree, so many feet from a fence post.
Yeah, that's not what I've heard from our surveyors and engineers who are using it, but okay.
I think you're going to get a difference. I mean, as in any discipline, you're going to get people using things differently, and it's what they learn.
I'm not
and
necessarily saying
their
that
understanding.
I'm not necessarily they're all incorrect. I'm just telling people be aware, and you might have to do your own verification. That's what I'm getting at. So.
Oh, well, we did a project where hired surveyors who surveyed all of ours is how they did it. And so I would have thought that those
So I have a quick question for you, and maybe this is something that you can supply to depending on your answer, supply to other county members. Is in your statement of work, was there anything specific to recording coordinates, what format and what sort of time frame for that data collection would occur for each coordinate?
I don't remember the specifics, and I don't think it would have been recorded. Those certificates, because that project, it was a 5-year project. It took that long to do it. So 4 townships, 4 townships, 4 townships, 2 and 2. And those recorded certificates do not have the coordinates on them. But that project was completed in 2010. So now some people have resurveyed or, added in quarters and centers and all kinds of other surveyed points that my understanding was they take it off of the other surveyed corners even to get to the new ones that they're doing.
I don't know. I don't know if this is sunshine. I don't know if this is helpful, but a few years back, we budgeted to have a whole section corner survey. We worked with Gary Brown, Dan Corbin, and we went with both, but they helped write the RFQ, RFP, and we have the coordinates on there with the coordinate system, and then it was to make our parcels more accurate, and then it was also looking for the is it this year, the data adjustment. So we could provide examples of that, contract and some of the surveys, certificates that were recorded with those coordinates on it. We didn't do all of our section corners, but we had X amount of money and we tried to get as many, we prioritized the corners that we could get. And then some of them that were gone, we had to pay extra to, get them reshot in. So if that's helpful to anybody who's thinking of a section corner
I
project.
think Sunshine, I think that would be super, super helpful for people to see something like that. I mean, I think it's like, if you're getting data developed, something that Casey and I always would tell people is if somebody's developing data for you, make sure you include that in that statement of work, in contract, something about developing the metadata, and I think this is the same case as if you have a good example, especially coming from Dan and Gary. I think that would be really valuable to share as just a something within a statement of work that binds that contract to get exactly what you want and expect.
Yeah, it was great working with them.
And I think CRs would have been written probably in 2004, 3 or 4. So it's been a while ago since the RFP went out for that. And Dan Corbin may have helped with that at the time. I'm not sure.
Thank you, Lawrence. That was E911. Did you say you had some other items from Geodetic, or were those both related?
No, the last thing was geodetic, yeah. The
Okay.
section corners and stuff, yeah.
Gotcha. Do we have any further discussion for the Geodetics Committee? Okay, do we have any other committees to report?
This is Greg Haddish. I could report on the remote sensing.
Yes, please.
I was just going to send Josh a message here. Can I share my screen, Josh?
Yeah, 1 second.
I wanted to give an update on the LiDAR collection, the statewide LiDAR, the quality level 2 project. This is primarily funded by the USDA, NRCS, and FEMA. We've got a map up on the that I think Patrick posted this one, but it needs some updating now. The whole state has been collected. About 95% of it was done in 2020, and just as of several weeks ago now, they just completed this block. Can everybody see the screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the last portion of the Western Iowa block was actually finished just a few weeks ago. So the collection part of it's done. We've received the first block of quality check data from USGS. This all goes from the vendor to USGS for their quality checking of it. And that data is down here in south central Iowa. This is the first block. So it's about a roughly 5-county area down here. So the LiDAR derivatives, we've got a color hill shade, regular hill shade, and there's also a DEM available as well. Are available through the Iowa Geographic map server. So you can either go through the web application to look at the data or bring the image services into ArcGIS or whatever software you're using through the regular REST services. But with this data set, there's some pretty significant improvements over the older data we had for the 2007 to 2010 flight, in that they did some hydro flattening on this. So things like the larger, looks like my thing is blocked here. Larger water bodies are all, the hydro flattening has been done on it compared to what we had previously. Here's the older data underneath here. You can see the difference there. And just the sheer number of data points, the point cloud that was used to derive this is higher level than we had. The first go around is kind of what we would consider a quality level 3. This is pre specification, USGS specification, but just wanted to let you know that the data is starting to come in, and over the next 6 to 12 months, we should have the entire state available with the new LiDAR. So that's all I had on that, unless Patrick, oh yeah, I was going to show also Patrick has posted a few other links here on the Iowa Geospatial Data site. If you go to the LiDAR collection here, you'll get that status map. Like I said, that has to be updated, but Patrick, do you want to talk about any of the other links you've put in here?
Yeah. So one thing, yeah, Greg's correct. We need to update that map. I've been waiting to get some information from USGS about on the status map. Usually I've been trying to look at the blocks and what blocks and time period those have been flown. And I haven't got that information from USGS yet. So Greg, if you have that, that would be great. Just forward that on to me.
Yeah, sure.
Because each county basically has a date range of when it was collected. And so I've just been kind of waiting on that to flush that out. But yeah, so one of the things that Greg was talking about is Howard Butler took the raw point cloud data that's available currently on the USGS public data, USGS AWS public data location. It's an S3 bucket of data. and created a bunch of things called cloud optimized geotiffs. And they're kind of a newish format that allows a very large TIFF to be stored just as a URL, and your client software basically sends a request for the extent and the scale, and reads that header and just returns what's in your field of view and the scale at which you're at. And so he created a number of things, an intensity map, which looks a lot like a aerial image, digital terrain model. So this is not a bare earth model. He did not filter out certain things because we don't have a full classification of data. And that's something I want to talk about with people in a second. The other thing is a digital surface model. So this is generally the first return model. And then the height above ground, which is the difference between the digital terrain model and the hillshade model, or sorry, the first return. So that's the difference between this. So you can use that to, extract building heights, canopy heights, that sort of thing. It's super interesting to look at that. But the way you use these VRTs, you don't want to actually download that link that says that link that says COG. That's the actual raw TIFF. I mean, you're welcome to download it, but some of them are fairly large and it will take several days to possibly download those. The better bet is to take that VRT link. And that VRT link is just, you can open that in a text file to see how it works, but both ArcGIS Desktop, QGIS, and ArcGIS Pro can read that VRT just as a file-based sort of image pointer. So you'll see that in there. So if you were to download that, you can load that, just open it up, just like you'd open up any other data source within your desktop GIS. ArcGIS Server, I believe, can actually, or Enterprise can use these as well. But it acts much like a mosaic file. And so if you're familiar with those, and so it just reads that, and then your client software handles those requests much like they handle a REST service. But these are of note just because one of the cool things that you can do with these is you can actually use in ArcGIS Pro, you can use the raster functions. If you've never used raster functions before, they're really cool. You can create a hillshade, shaded relief on the fly, hillshade. You can do contours on the fly. Basically because it reads in that image, and because that geotiff actually has height information embedded within it. It's acting just like a regular grid file or DEM file in some ways. You can actually do pixel level analysis on that, and so you can set I want 10-foot contour intervals, and as you're panning around in that, it will generate those contour intervals for you. Or generate an on-the-fly hillshade or shaded relief map. There's also other functions that you can do, but I would really encourage you to go ahead and look at those raster functions that are in ArcGIS Pro. And this is, if you're not an ArcGIS Pro user, this might be the carrot to get you into ArcGIS Pro and start looking at that. And but there's some pretty cool things that can be done with these cloud optimized geotiffs. USGS, I believe, is going to start distributing some of their products actually in this format, rather than other means. So that's all I have, Greg.
Hey, Patrick.
Yes.
Quick question for you, Matt. With Esri. Joe's not on, so I'll speak for him, I guess. But have you considered once you get all the LiDAR for the whole state, sharing that with community maps?
I that probably is in Greg's realm. It's public data. I don't know. I mean, so all of this data is, I mean, it's going to be on the USGS AWS bucket. So I would imagine that the Living Atlas team or community map team is probably already looking at this, or there may be even discussions within USGS. You know, since that's in, I mean, it's already in Amazon, and it seems like at least the ArcGIS Online stuff is all in that Amazon space already. That would be pretty easy to do.
Yeah, I agree. And reason I asked, we recently did entire state of Connecticut is now up there for 3D base map, pixelized LiDAR for everybody. We just did country of Grenada. There's a couple other states. I think Oregon's coming on board soon. So I mean, fantastic service. There's no charge for it. So yeah, make it available. For
I have no idea. I mean, I don't think the state, and I mean, Iowa's always been, you know, as much as possible push to open data. You know, and especially now, I think USGS, I sit on the 3DEP group on NISGIC, and so a lot of the USGS people are up there, and so they're, you know, I hear a lot of conversations about how the way that they do and share data is going to be very much different going forward with this 3DEP program, and also with their hydro program that is going on. And they're really embracing, you know, sort of that cloud concept, you know, of open data buckets. AWS, I think, is, or Amazon, you know, for USGS is, I think, if it's not free, it's, you know, darn near free for them to do, just because they're putting it out as a public data set. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, and the data will also be available through the same channels that we did back in the 2007-2010. So UNI has talked about having their interface there to access the LAZ files. Patrick mentioned USGS, it's already out there. We've got the REST services here available through the Iowa State server. So it's going to be in a lot of places, either the source data or the derivatives, you know.
The only other thing I have to add, and I alluded to this, is the actual raw point cloud data. I think because Iowa is very we got in early with the USGS, you know, for our first generation LiDAR for the state, you know, and it's good for what it is, and for the collection. There are problems with it. There are overlap problems. There are various problems with that data. But one of the things that we didn't have at that time were things like timestamps consistently in the data, and attached to each point. And the other thing we didn't really have a good handle on was the classification. And the raw data that we get in from USGS is classified at a very minimal level. There's ground, there's water, noise, but most everything, and maybe one or other classification on there. I think overlap might be classification. But most of all the points are actually classified, or put in a class called unclassified. One of the really cool things, again, to go back to those VRTs, is if you use that DSM, that digital surface model, and ArcGIS Pro with the raster functions, one of the cool things that you can do is actually generate contours of canopy cover, or of buildings. or something like that, something that you're not typically looking at, or when you've been, you've observed or looked at a contour map before. You can start drawing contours or generating contours on the fly of things that views of things that you typically don't look at. One of the things that would be really nice to have is to have the points, most of those unclassified points, put into different bins of things like low, medium, and high vegetation, buildings, other human structures. There's a couple of other classifications that would be nice to put in there as well. We do not have funding for that. The NRCS, USDA, FEMA, IDOLS for at least the first part of the collection were very generous in what they were able to provide for us in terms of this, supporting this project. But it was for the base level 3-depth specifications, which did not include that enhanced modeling of and classification of those points. And you're looking at the Potri viewer right now, which Greg is showing, that you can see and differentiate visually where trees are, where water are, and that sort of thing. But Greg, if you click on that hamburger thing over there, up there in the left-hand corner, up, nope, not that one, that one. Yep. And then if you go down in this, and I think I sent over the link in the IGIC site for this, the Potri viewer. But if you go down to the very bottom of this menu and go to the filters, this will show you how things have been classified. This is these are actually the raw point cloud data that you are actually looking at. And so those are the generally accepted classes for point cloud data. And if Greg, you can turn off the unclassified. So generally all the unclassified is removed when a bare earth model is generated. But it would be really nice to break that classification out to that low, medium, and high vegetation as well, along with buildings. And that is not currently the case. I mean, right now we pretty much, if you turn on, if you go manually toggle on and off those different filters, you'll see that most of Iowa points are either groundwater or unclassified. So if this is something that your county is interested in getting, let me know. We are looking to get some different opportunities to get an estimate on how much this would actually cost to classify the points across the state, or at least in regions across the state. I mean, the beauty of it is it's raw point cloud data. It can be done at any time. But it would be nice to get it done. I think there's a lot of applications that we have never been able to do that would then be possible with having that classification information on those pixels or on those point clouds. So get a hold of me if there's interest in there. It's also something if IGIC, if somebody wants to send out a message or something, or do something like that to help organize that would be great. But like I said, I'm looking into ways that we can get this done. I think Micah, in response, Howard, this is a lot of what Howard would be probably doing.
Yeah, so I can speak with that since Micah had to leave.
Okay.
we have Howard set up to discuss his process. It's the same presentation roughly that he gave for the ISU GIS seminars, and it's going to be the September lunch and learn. Given the conference, we're holding off on lunch and learns for June and July, and then we'll pick it back up in August. So we'll still need August, but Howard will be discussing all his process and stuff in September.
That was a good discussion. Greg, do you have anything further?
No, that's all I had.
Data's beautiful. Do we have any other committees that would like to report? All right. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
This is Josh. I'll move.
Second.
Second from Matt.
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I now say that the spring meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
So long.
Thanks.
Thanks, Josh. This was good.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.